Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Are you ready to build an intelligent AI chatbot in React? But wait, we are not just going to build any chatbot. We will be integrating OpenAPI's powerful API, render responses with Markdown. And for optimizing our code, we will be using custom hooks for cleaner and reusable logic. By the end of this video, you will not only have a fully functional AI chatbot that understands your queries, but you will also have the response formats beautifully. And we will build the AI chatbot with the best practices in React development. So, if this sounds interesting, then stick around. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. So, let's get started. Alright guys, so I have opened my Visual Studio Code and we will first start by bootstrapping our React application using Vite. So I will go to the terminal, and inside the terminal what we will write is we will have the npm create Vite @latest so that we can get our React application. Now here we have to give our project name. So I'm going to have the React chatbot tutorial. Alright, so this is our project name and we are using React. So I'm going to select React. Now here you can select the TypeScript or the JavaScript. I will go for the TypeScript. So I'm going to hit enter. And now we have this application ready. So what we will do is first let's open the application in our Visual Studio Code. Now we can just give a try and run this application. So I'm going to do npm install to install all the dependencies. All right, so all our dependencies have been installed. Now we can run the application. But before we run the application, I want to make a small change here. So I'm going to put the server as usual. I do it every time, and I'm going to do open as true so that when I run my application, it automatically opens in the browser. And I will also give the port, and let's give the port as 3001. Okay, now we can do npm run dev to run our application. So now we can see that our application is running on port 3001, and this was our application. We can click the counter and we can have it. So now let's go back to our Visual Studio Code, and what we will do is we need to install few dependencies in order to build our chatbot. So what I will do is I'm going to go to a new tab of the terminal, and the first dependency I want is Axios, because we are going to make an API call to OpenAPI. So I will have the Axios. All right, so the Axios is installed, and we will also going to use the Tailwind CSS for our styling. So let's install the Tailwind CSS into our Vite project. So I will go to the browser, and here we can see that how we can install the Tailwind CSS into our project. So I'm going to copy this. Let's go back. I'm going to put it here and hit enter. And this is going to install the Tailwind CSS and the Tailwind CSS / Vite plugin. Now, once we have this, we need to add this plugin in our Vite config. And inside the Vite config, I'm going to add it here. So I will have the Tailwind CSS. All right, so we have added this plugin here, and after that what we have to do is let's go back and check. So we have added the Tailwind CSS plugin as well. We will just have to import the Tailwind CSS into our CSS file. So let's go back, and I'm going to go to the source. I'm going to minimize this. In the source we have this index.css. So I'm going to remove all the CSS, we don't want it, and I'm going to simply add this import Tailwind CSS. For app.css also I will remove everything, and I'm going to add this Tailwind CSS. All right, so now we can just give a try our Tailwind CSS is working or not. So what I will do is I will go here and I will just copy this h1, and I'm going to put this h1 in my app.tsx. So let's remove everything. We don't want anything in the app.tsx, and I'm simply going to put this one. We're going to change this to class name. Okay, and we will also remove all this as we don't want them. So I'm going to remove everything. I will also remove this one. Now let's give a try. So if I go here, then I can see my application is already running on port 3001. Let's go to the browser and check. So if I go to the browser, Tailwind CSS applied. We have bold, underline, and this is what we applied. We applied the bold and we have the underline. All right. So our initial setup is done. We have our project, and we have also installed the dependencies, and we have also checked the Tailwind CSS, which is working fine. Now what we will do is we will first start working on the app.tsx. So in the app.tsx, what I will do is I'm going to remove everything, and here I'm going to use the snippet to get my component. So I will have the tsrsc, and this is going to give me a component. So I don't have any props, so I can remove the props, and here also I can remove it. I don't have any props. I will remove it from here as well. Okay, and we can just remove this also. All right, so we have our app component, and inside the app component we need to return some JSX. So let's have this JSX here. So in the JSX I will have a div, and I'm going to give some class name to this div. So let's have a class name of max width large. So this is going to give me a max width large. I'm going to have a margin top as 20. I will have the max as auto. Then I'm going to have the background as white. Shadow, I'm going to give the shadow. So let's have the shadow for medium device. We're going to have the rounded large. So let me have the rounded large. And I'm going to give the overflow hidden. So let's have the overflow hidden. Now we are going to give these classes because we need to make our UI for the chatbot. So first let me show you the sample UI that we want to build for our chatbot. So if we go to the browser, and in the browser if I use this one, so this is how the UI looks like, and this is what we have to build. So that's why we are using this classes here. All right, so now first we have this div. Next what we're going to do is we are going to have another div. So let me put the other div. So I will have a div, and in this I'm going to provide some class names. So I will have the width as full, then I'm going to have the max width large, then we are going to have a background color of white, we need to have the shadow, then we're going to have a similar rounded LG, and we are going to have the overflow hidden. So we are going to have almost the similar class names. So I will have the overflow hidden. All right, and now inside this we are going to create a component which will be our chat component. So first let's create that component. So I'm going to go here, I will go here, and I will have the components. Inside the component I'm going to create the component as chat component dot tsx. All right, and let's create the component first. So I have this component, and I'm going to give the chat component. So we have already exported this component, so now we can maybe use it here. So let's go here, and I'm going to have the chat component here. All right, the component is auto imported. So maybe let's start working on the chat component part. So I'm going to go here, and first we will just simply create the UI of it. So I will have the div here. All right, and inside the div I'm going to give the class name. Let's use the flex box. So I will have the flex column, and I'm going to give the height as 80 vertical height VH, and let's have the background as white. Okay, after this I'm going to create h2 here. I'm going to give some classes to h2. So we're going to have the classes. Padding will be 4, font will be semi bold, text will be large, and text should be in the center. So we're going to have the text center. Background should be blue 100. Then we're going to have the flex, and we want the text color. So the text color will be blue 800. So let me have the blue 800, and we want justify content to be in the center. Let's have the items center, and we want a gap. So this will be 2. So we have given this, and inside this we need to write our content. So our content would be React plus OpenAI chatbot. So I'm going to have the chatbot. Now for the icon, what we can do is we can use the package which is the React icons. So let's install that. So I'm going to have the npm install React icons. All right, so this is going to give us the React icons. So now we have installed it, so now we can maybe use it. So I'm going to have the lu bot. So we have this lu bot, and on this we can provide a size, and I will have the size as 25. And below this div, what I will do is I'm going to have a div. I'm going to give the class names. Okay, and for the class name I will have the flex items center. So flex is a very good in order to style our elements. So I'm going to have the background gray 50. So let's have the background gray 50. Okay, and inside that let's have our input element. So I will have the input, and on the input first I will have the type. So let's have the type as text. After that we are going to use some classes. So I'm going to have the flex 1, padding as 2, border I want rounded edges. So I will have the rounded LG, and let's have the focus outline none. Okay, and then after the classes we will also need to provide the placeholder. So let's have the placeholder as your message here. After that we are going to provide the value. So the value would be input, and then we will have our on change function. So on change we are going to have our event, and then I will have the set input, and for the set input let's have event dot target dot value. Now for this we need to have a state variable. So let's take a state variable. So I'm going to go here, and we are going to have a constant input set input, which will be equals to use state, and we're going to keep it as empty. All right. After the input, what we will need is we will need the button. So let's create the button. So I'm going to have a button on click, and inside the button, what we now want is we need to provide the icon. So let's have the LU send horizontal. I'm going to give the size as 20, and let's close this tag. Okay. I'm going to have here handle send. So let's write this handle send function here. So I'm going to go here. I will have a constant handle send, which will be an arrow function. So let's have a simple arrow function. I'm not going to write anything here. We can go and check. So if I go here, then we can see here. Now I will just make this icon a little bit bigger. So let's make it 25, and then let's give a padding here. So what I will do here is let's put the class names. I'm going to have the padding as 2. Now between this input bar and the header, we need to have our content. So this is how it will look like. We will have the content here. So what we can do is let's create a div here in between this, and that div will contain all the content. You have a div, and let's provide some class name. All right, and on this div, what I will need is I will have a flex 1 overflow y auto. So let's have overflow y auto, padding as 4, and we're going to give the space 2 on y-axis. So we have this, and now you will see that this is how we look like. We have the space and everything here. So our UI is almost ready. Now we have to display the content that we are going to type in. All right. So for that, what we will do is first we have to create a hook. That hook will help us to communicate to the OpenAI and then get the response back. So what I will do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to create a new folder. And this folder will contain a custom hook. So I'm going to go here, create a new file, and that will be useChatBoot.ts. But before that, what I will do is we will also need an API key in order to communicate with the OpenAI API. So let's go to the browser, and this is what OpenAI website looks like. You need to go and sign up yourself. Once you sign up, what you will see is you can go to the dashboard. So I'm going to go to the dashboard, and in the dashboard you have this API key. So here is my API key. This is the secret which I'm going to use it in order to make the API call. I can also create a new one. Click on this one, give a name, project, and then you can just create it. So what I will do is let's have a constant use chatbot. This is going to be an arrow function. All right, and I will also create an interface. So I will have the interface of message. Okay, and this is going to have two fields. One will be the text, which is of type string. Then another one will be the sender, who is sending the message. So either it will be a user or it will be a bot. Okay, now we have this. After that, what we will do is let's create a state variable of messages, which will contain all the messages. So let's have a messages, and this is going to equals to the use state, and the type of this will be message array. All right, and then let's provide the initial array as empty. Okay, so this is how we are going to have a state variable of messages. Then what I will do is let's have a constant, and then let's send message. So whenever we want to send a message, what we will do is we are going to use the async, and we are going to take the message which we want to send. So I will have a message, and that message will be of type string. Okay, so whenever we want to send a message, whatever the user is typing, we take that message and then we will send it. So first I will create a constant new messages, and on this new messages, first I have to take all my old messages. Okay, so I will do dot dot dot, and I will have all my old messages, and once I have my old messages, I can add my new message, whatever the new message which I am doing. So I will have a text as message, and the sender will be the user, because user is typing the message, so sender will be user. All right, and this new message will be of type message array. Okay, so we have this new messages. Now once we have the new messages, let's set this new messages in the set messages. So I will have the set messages, and I'm going to pass the new messages here. All right, so now next thing what we will do is we are going to make an API call in order to get the response back. So I'm going to use the try catch block, and in the try block, what we will do is let's have a constant. I'm going to have the response, and the response will be await, and let's make an Axios call here. So I will have the Axios dot post. So you need to understand that this new message or whatever we are doing, this one, this is what we are sending to the OpenAPI. And then when we get the response back, our response will be the bot, because we get the response from the OpenAPI, which is a chatbot. All right. So we are sending the request, and in the request, first we will need the request URL. So the request URL will be, if we go here and if we go to the API references, then in the API reference, let's go to endpoint and we want the chat. So this is the endpoint that we are going to make use. And you can also see that here is a sample how you can make the API call and how you get the response. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it here. So I will put it here. So we have our endpoint, and after the endpoint we need to send the body. So to send the body, first what we have to do is we have to provide the model. So you can get all this information here, that you will have the model and then you will pass the message and everything. So we are going to do the same thing. So let's have the model, and our model is GPT-4. So maybe we can just copy this from here. So I will copy. Okay, and I will put the model here. Okay, after the model we need to send the message that we are going to send. So I will have the messages, and this will be an array, and in this what I have to do is first I have to send the role, that who is writing this message. So user is writing this message. Okay, and then we have to pass the content, and the content will be the message that a user has typed. So let's have the message. Okay, now this one is the request body part. Now next will be the headers that we have to pass, because we also have to authenticate ourselves. So let's have the headers, and in the headers we are going to have the authorization, and let's have the authorization as bearer token. So I will have the bearer, and then we need to pass the token here, and this token will be the API key. So we can just go to dashboard, API key, and we can just copy the API key from here. So I already have it, so I will just copy it and I will paste it here. All right, now after that what we have to do is we will also need to pass the content type, that what type of content we need. So I will have the content type, and in the content type we are going to have the application JSON. So let's have the application JSON. Okay, so we have done this part. Now once we have this, we will get a response back. So if I go here, then we will get a response back. So let's take that response. So I will have the bot message, and this will be equals to the response that we are getting dot data, and we actually get the content on the choices. So if we go and check again API references, and let's go to the chat, and if you want to go to the response, then this is how the response will look like. It will have a choices, and then on the 0th index it will have the message, which will be the role as a bot or assistant, and then we will have the content. So let's take that one. So I will have the data dot choices of 0th index, and then on that we are going to have a message, and then we are going to have the content. Okay, so that's how we will get the bot message. And then once we get the bot message, what we will do is we are going to have the set messages, and on this set messages, first we are going to take all the new messages. So let's have the new messages, and after the new messages we are going to append the response that we have got from the bot. So I will have the text as bot message, and we are going to have the sender this time as bot or maybe assistant. All right, so we have this. Now we also have this error part. So let's have the error part. I'm going to use the console error, and in this we are going to write the error fetching AI response. Okay, and then we will just have the error here. All right, and in the end what we have to return from this chatbot hook is, if we go down, then let's return. So I'm going to use the return, and we are going to return all the messages, and we will also return the send message function. All right, so we have this, and now we see that everything is working fine. Now this is complaining because useChatBot is assigned a value but it is never used. All right, so we will use it in our chat component. So inside the chat component, what we will do is, so I will come here, and here I'm going to have the constant. I'm going to take the messages, and the other one I will take the send message, and these two I will get it from the chatbot. So let's have the chatbot, but I don't see here chatbot. That means I haven't exported it. So let me export that. So I will have the export default use chatbot. All right, now I can go here and then use it. So I will have the use chatbot. Okay, so I have these two now. We can make use of it. So what I will do is next, let's have this handle send. I will see that if input dot trim. All right, so if there is an input, we are going to use the send message, and in the send message we are going to pass the input, whatever the input is. All right, And once we do it, we are going to set the input as empty so that we can clear the input box for the next time we want to write something. So we have this. Now let's try to add the messages. So what I will do is I will go here, and here we are going to loop through the messages, and let's put the messages here. So I will go here, I will have the messages dot map, and here what we will do is we are going to have the message, and we are going to have the index. All right, then I'm going to have this arrow function, and inside this we are going to have a div. Let's have a key to that div. So I'm going to have the index. Okay, I'm going to provide some class name. So I'm going to use a backtick here. I will have the padding as 3. I will have the rounded LG, and I will have the max width for small devices. Okay, then I'm going to use a dollar here, and here I'm going to have the message dot sender. And if this message dot sender is equals to user, so we need to distinguish, if a user is sending a message, we have to make it blue color, and if a bot is sending a message, we have to make it a gray color. So let's have that conditional. So I'm going to have the background blue 500, text as white, and margin left as auto. All right, but if it's not that, in that case what we will do is we are going to have a background as gray 300, text gray 800. All right, and then in the end what we can do is we can have our message text here. So let me have the message text. Okay, so now we have this, and here we made a mistake. This should be brackets, so let's have the brackets here. All right, so we have this. Now if we want to give a try, what I will do is I will go here and let's give a try. So I'm going to minimize this. Let's have it in the side dock. So I will have it like this. And if we go to the network, let me zoom in the network tab, and let's say hi here. So if I write hi, then you see that we have the hi, and we have hello, how can I assist you today? And you will see that we are making an API call here. So if I scroll this, then we have the open API here, chat completion, and this is our payload. We are sending the content as hi, and this is our preview, which is the response. We are getting it from the open API. So if I go here, then we have the choices, index of 0, we have the message, and this is messages how I can assist you. Let me type give me 5 EU country names. All right, I'm going to send the request. Then we see that sure, here are the 5 EU country: France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Netherlands. Now we can also make it more, improve this since we are getting the response as this markdown. So if I go here and if I show you the response, so let me show you the response, then you will see that you have this slash and new line and everything, but it's not taking the markdown. So for that, what we can do is we can go back to our Visual Studio Code, and we can install one package, which is the npm install react markdown. All right, I will hit enter. Okay, so we have installed that. Now what we will do is whatever the text we have it, we will just wrap that text under the markdown. So I'm going to go here and I will have this markdown. All right, and let's put the text inside that. So I'm going to cut and I'm going to put it here. Okay, now we're going to do again same thing. So let's have give me 5 EU country names. Now this time you will see that we get the response, but it will be in a list properly. So you see that we have Germany, France, and everything. So this is also React Markdown will help you to beautify your response. So let's say if I want best route from Poland to Germany, and if I send it, okay, so it's pending, and now we have the response. Now in the response, if we go and check, so let me go and check, then you will see that there might be some special, so this is all characters are being recognized with the help of the React Markdown. So here you will see that now it's getting bold and everything, and you also get a proper response. So React Markdown is a good npm package to use here in order to get this beautify. Now one more thing I want to show you, that if I put hi here, then you will see that my page is not scrolling at the bottom automatically. So for that, what we will do is we are going to write a small custom hook. So let's go back here, and what I will do is I'm going to write a generic custom hook which can be used. So I will go here, let's have the useChatScroll.ts. okay, and in this what I will do is I will have the RSC function component. I have the useChatScroll, and in this useChatScroll we are going to create a generic type. So let's have a generic type of dependency. So it can be any type of dependency. I will have the T here. All right, and this will be of type react.react object. I'm going to make use of a useRef here. So let's have the ref object, I guess. Yeah, ref object. Is there a ref object? Okay, and this will be of type HTML element. So let's have the HTML div element. All right, and if not, it could be a null. Okay, I made a mistake. It was a arrow function, so let me change it to function, and here I'm going to simply have this. Okay, let's remove that. So this is what our function looks like. We have a use chat. We are making a generic type where this is a dependency of type T. It can be any type. Then we are using the ref object HTML div element because we are going to use the ref on a div element. All right, now I will take a reference. So I will have the ref, and this will be react.useRef. So let's have the use ref, and this will be of type HTML div element. Okay, it can also be null, so it can have a null value, and now I'm going to have the null here. All right, so what will happen is initially the use ref will be null, but later on the value will be the div where we are going to assign this ref. So that's why we are putting it null, otherwise it's going to complain us with an error. All right, now we have this. Let's use effect. So I'm going to have the react use effect here. All right, and inside this use effect it will be an arrow function. So we are going to check that if our ref dot current, and then what we have to basically do is we have to keep the scroll top always at the bottom. So to get it at the bottom, we have to use the scroll height. So I will have the ref dot current, and we have to use the scroll top, and the value would be ref dot current. We have to use the scroll height. So let's have the scroll height. So in this way, the scroll will always be at the bottom. And here we have to repeat this whenever there is a change in the dependency, and our dependency will be the message. So whenever we type a new message, we have to scroll down. So that's why this dependency will be the message. So I will show you how we are giving this dependency as a message. So I will have a ref here. Now we just have to use it. So I will go to the chatbot. Now inside the chatbot, if I go here, I will first take the ref, and this ref will be useChatScroll, and we have to pass the dependency. So let's pass the dependency as messages. So I'm going to copy and put it here. Okay, and this is what the dependency is going to be, this D, which is going to be used. So whenever you type any new message, then the messages will get changed and the dependency gets changed, and then this scroll top is calculated again. All right, so we have this. Now we have to make use of it. So where we are going to put this, we have to put it here on this div. So I'm going to have the ref, which will be equals to ref. Okay, so we have done that. Now let's give a try. So if I go here, I'm going to have best route Poland to Germany. Okay, I will send the request, and now you see that this time the scroll is already at the bottom. So if I go up and if I type hi, and if I send it, you will see that the scroll will automatically come to the bottom. So if I type hi, then the scroll comes to the bottom. So that's where this use scroll hook is also very helpful in order to make the scroll at the bottom. So your React OpenAPI chatbot is almost ready. You can ask anything, whatever you want. 5 React hooks. Okay, and this is going to give us the 5 React hooks list. Okay, so we get this React hooks list. So you have the use state, you have the use context. We have to handle this part as this is going out of the div. We have to put it some wrap or something, but we can do it later on. Now we have the use reducer, but basically our chatbot is working. Give me top cities to visit in India. So this is going to give me top cities to visit in India. Let's see what it gives. All right, so we have these top cities to visit in India: Delhi, Agra, and all this. Okay, so this is how you can just simply build your React OpenAPI chatbot. It was a fun project, but the important things here to note is the React Markdown and using the custom hook for the scroll and the custom hook for the use chatbot. All right, so that's all I have in this video. I hope you liked the video. A thumbs up is appreciated. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram for latest updates. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. Thank you. Thanks for watching.